I think it is that form of strongman diplomacy rather than careful work of years that has got this to happen.
Well, I think it's clear that the US administration has played a very key role in getting us to this point on this particular peace deal, if that is indeed what it turns out to be. But it's also obvious that there is a coming together of international pressure here. I think the Observer's got the headline quite right, though. You know, a burden of hope, because this is our hope. You know, this has to work, but the burden, the need to make that turn into something lasting now is enormous on all of us.
So if we just step back for a minute from the technicalities of what might happen next, it's had a huge impact on politics here as well, even though it's thousands of miles away.
It certainly has, and perhaps this is not the day to be too partisan, but there's been deep disillusionment at the willingness of UK government to step up with its condemnation of the genocide that we've witnessed in Gaza, and the need to condemn the Israeli leadership for that. It certainly is having an impact, and I think it's crystallised many of the values that are important to us here. When my party was calling for a ceasefire, it was because these are values that have always been important to us as a party. And now, as we move forward to making this still fragile peace, hopefully something that lasts, the need for that international solidarity, to answer your question about the UK's role, is very, very important. Countries large and small showing this has to work now. This can't be a pause.
As well.
I think more than anything, that the comments that we've heard from Nadine reflect her and her party's rather narrow view of the world. We have to move forward together here. I'm looking at the role that's been played by partners in the Middle East, by Egypt, by Qatar and others, and the role that they have played over months. That kind of narrow view doesn't particularly help us at this point now.
OK, let's then talk about your party, Plaid Cymru, from the big stage to the UK stage and Wales's role within that. Now, you've been doing rather well of late. We can look at some recent polls, which put you just narrowly ahead of Nadine's party these days, Reform, miles ahead of Labour and the Tories and the Lib Dems and the Greens. Your party, though, sort of exists for Wales to become an independent country, but you're not really talking about that right now. Why?
Well, we are, because that's the context in which I want people to discuss Wales's potential. That's what the debate on independence is. It's about whether we can do things better than now. I happen to believe that's the place we should be aiming for. But what I also believe very, very deeply in is that it's the people of Wales who will decide. And what I want to do, and what I offer in terms of leadership, is that encouragement to engage with those options on where we might go as a country in future. But we've got to deal with the issues that we face right now too, and that, I think, is a clear focus for us.
But if you really believe in it and you think that's the solution to Wales's problems, then why say things like there's going to be no referendum in the next few years?
Well, I'm a pragmatic politician, and it's not up to me and what I think. I won't impose independence on Wales. It'll be the people of Wales who decide. And when we see the journey that we've come on in recent years, the huge increase in people who say either yes, we're in, or perhaps more importantly, you know what, we're interested in this, tell us more. Well, let's have that conversation. But we've also got the health problems that we face, education standards dropping, stagnant economy, the need to deal with poverty in Wales. Those are the ideas that Plaid Cymru is putting on the table right now in the conditions that we currently have, and that's why I think people are turning to Plaid Cymru in ever greater numbers.
And the context of this is that we're right across the UK boiling up to a huge set of elections in May. It's going to be a massive political moment. You've worked with the Labour Party to some degree or not before. Would you do a coalition deal this time round with Labour if it meant keeping Reform out? Because they've got their eyes on the Senate.
Well, we certainly want to keep Reform out. I think in the interest of Wales, we would be in a position now, if the polls are anywhere near to reflecting what the vote would be, to being able to form a minority government of our own. But remember that there has never been a majority government in the history of devolution in Wales. We've been able to influence Labour to do things. Well, what we're doing is offering new leadership for Wales, a new way of doing things. Will we be asking other people, well, back these ideas of ours on poverty, on childcare, on the economy, so we can provide that stability, but under Plaid Cymru leadership that we haven't had before.
So do you think you're going to be the next First Minister of Wales?
Well, the polls suggest that I could be, and my job is to build that trust with the people of Wales to make it happen, because we can head off on a different trajectory. I think. Nadine Dorries talks about the sensitivities of diplomacy. And I think it's very important for people to see that their political leaders and potential political leaders have their eyes wide open when it comes to knowing who our partners, who our adversaries are. The former leader of Reform in Wales has just pleaded guilty to taking money from Russia. Bribes, from Russia. That's appalling, and it says so much about their stance.